So I'm thinking about selling the Canon R10, and one of the things that I'm kind of deciding on is whether I like the autofocus or if the camera is worth it. Kind of like the Canon R7, the Canon R10 also just sits on my shelf. Not because it's a bad camera or because it's anything is wrong with it, but I just have so much better options than this camera, like the R5 Mark II or the R6 Mark III. So I end up grabbing those cameras for most of my like everyday kind of use. This camera right now, I've been testing it around with these skateboarders and all these guys, and they are these guys are like the perfect subject. The settings that I'm at right now is like 1/2000, 1/1500. I'm using TV mode, so shutter priority, just so that I can like make sure that the guys are like tack sharp. And it seems to be doing really well. And actually the autofocus is like, surprisingly, it's stickier than the R7. At least it feels like it is, which is really interesting to me. I wasn't expecting it to be stickier, and it just feels like it is for whatever reason. The photos are looking fantastic. I'm reviewing them in real time, and I just got some shots of a trick shot, and it seemed to be pretty damn good. Ultimately though, I do think that I am going to part ways with the Canon R10 because, again, I just have other options. So both of the R7 and the R10 are currently on sale for my collection. I gotta make space for another camera, so that's ultimately it. By the way, this little section right here of the city, I think this is called the Municipal Building, and it is it's a cool part of the city that they made a little skate park for these young men and women to actually skateboard in. So yeah, it's a very cool part of the city. And you guys can see all of the skyscrapers behind me, the skyline. Just a cool part of the city. The shooting speed is incredibly fast. The autofocus is super sticky. I'm using first current electronic instead of mechanical, and I like it. I like it a lot better than the mechanical shutter. This camera does have, I think, 24 megapixels, 24.1 or 24.2. So it's not, I'm not going to be able to punch in that much, at least I don't think, and I'm going to be showing you some photo examples here. I'm not going to be able to punch in as much as I would have with the R7, but for $1,000 or $800, whatever this camera retails for, I'll put a price right here somewhere. I think it's a great option for most people. Is it the best camera in the world? No, but it's a camera for anybody that is above like an entry-level photographer, in my opinion. Yeah, either the autofocus is stickier on this thing or maybe I've updated the firmware on it, but it definitely feels like a lot stickier. The little autofocus marker tracks the person's head just perfectly. Yeah, and I don't know what's up with that. Like, I really don't know. So who's this camera actually for? I would say that this camera is perfect for somebody that's never owned an actual interchangeable lens camera. This Canon R10 is perfect for you if this is your very first camera. I would say that if you already own a Canon R50 or a Canon R100 or a Sony A6400, something very entry level, that this probably is an incremental improvement from those cameras. So if you already own a very entry level camera, this isn't much of an improvement from that. It is an improvement, but it's incremental, right? I would consider, if you already own one of those entry-level cameras, that you should probably jump up to a beginner full-frame camera, or something like a Sony A6400 or a Canon R7. That right there would be a nice big leap. But if you don't own any cameras and this is your very first one, the R10 I think is perfect, and it's going to give you more than enough. Again, I was really impressed. Last week I was testing the R7, which is a great camera with some very pro level features in my opinion. Dual SD card, larger battery, IBIS, all kinds of stuff like that. This right here, I was testing it this week, and I was actually impressed with the autofocus. It seemed like the autofocus was a little bit stickier. Now, when I was editing the photos, of course, this is 24 megapixels and the R7 is 32. So you're not gonna be able to really punch in as much as you'd like to, as much as I'm really used to. So there is that to consider. So if you're looking for like a camera that you like to crop in your photos a lot, I happen to be one of those photographers and like people that does video that does like to have that flexibility in post. Not because, you know, of course you want to compose your shot in camera, but having that flexibility of being able to really crop in post is really, really beneficial to me in the way that I shoot. I really, really enjoy that. So this being 24 is right on the cusp of, you don't have that as much flexibility as you would with something that 32 megapixels or something that has 45 megapixels like the R5. So if you're looking for a really, really nice entry-level camera, if you've never had any before, the Canon R10 is probably going to be a really, really nice bet. I would say this is better than the Sony A6400.